What's up, guys? Welcome back to Bible Fun with the Duns. Today we're in Job chapter 15. Let's get started.
Okay. When you get to Job chapter 15, now we're hearing from Eliphaz again. This is the second time he's responding to Job. Now, here's what you want to kind of do here. Sometimes when you're reading through these chapters, you're going to find that these guys keep going back to old arguments. And sometimes, I looked at this passage and I kind of tried to take a step back and go, what's the overarching picture? And sometimes you're not going to know. And sometimes it's going to be what it was previously. Because it's like these guys are playing instruments, but they only know one note. So what's happening in this passage is Eliphaz is saying, Orville says hello. Eliphaz believes that Job is really struggling and that he's mourning over, he's sad over all the things that has happened to him, and that his sadness shows that he doesn't really trust God. I'm going to tell you something. You can trust God and still very much struggle and still very much sorrow. For instance, when Jesus went to the tomb of Lazarus, Jesus knew that Lazarus was dead. Jesus knew that he was about to raise Lazarus from the dead, so he knew what had happened. He knew what was going to happen. And still, what did Jesus do at the tomb? The shortest verse in the whole Bible, what does it say Jesus did?
He wept.
Jesus wept. So you telling me Jesus could mourn, he could weep, he could be sad, even when he knew everything, then surely Job is justified to also feeling the pressures of life. Listen, we are going to feel the pressures of life. It doesn't necessarily mean we don't trust God. It means that we're in the world and we're feeling it as it's hitting. So just this is an important moment. Eliphaz believes that Job, in all that he's saying, is full of hot air. So you can see this in verse number 2. He says, and fill himself with the east wind. Well, when Jonah talks about the east wind, it talks about how it's a blazing hot wind and it just kind of zaps your energy and it's just so hot. And so this is a way of Eliphaz saying, Job, you are full of hot air. I'm telling you, this is not the way that you want to comfort somebody, because it's not comforting at all. Like, do better, okay? So, Jax, what'd you get from this chapter?
Okay, so my takeaway comes from where Eliphaz says, he tells Job, let me tell you what I have seen. And in Eliphaz, when he says that, he's literally admitting his mistakes. We see this with the words I and seen. So, first of all, he's only one person, and he doesn't know everything because he's not God. Nobody knows everything, and no one can possibly know everything. The second thing is where he says seen. All he's seen, that's not even half the picture. And he hasn't seen what's going on. He hasn't seen what's going on in heaven. He hasn't seen what's happened in Job's heart, and so he's in no position to tell Job anything because he's not God.
So he's not seen where? He's not seen in
heaven,
and he's not seen in Job's
heart.
Okay, I didn't pick that up. That was good. Good job. I like that. Okay, is that all you got? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think that there's a lot of irony in this passage. I mean, when you get to verse 2, he says, should a man answer with empty knowledge and fill himself with east wind? Should he reason with unprofitable talk or by speeches which he can do no good? So the irony of this is, he said, Job, you keep talking and talking, but you're not even saying anything. And I want to go, hey fella, that's the pot calling the kettle black. Eliphaz keeps talking and talking, and he literally does not know what he's talking about, but he sure doesn't lack for words. Could it be that Job's friends don't consider that their own understanding of God was already incomplete, and that it meant that they too didn't have a full handle on this? I'm gonna tell you why I think Job's friends are in such sharp, they don't have all the facts, but they're doubling down on they understand it all, because they don't want to face the fact that if Job is righteous and he's suffering, then it means that even they could one day suffer. I'm going to tell you, in our lives, we want to believe, if I just do what I'm supposed to do, then I'm going to be blessed. Well, what if we can do what we're supposed to do, but still fit with what Jesus said, in this world you will have trouble? These guys, I think, are doubling down because they don't want to believe it's possible that they could suffer too. The other thing is he's got such a prideful tone when he talked to Jesus, to Job. He says, like verse 17, he says, I will tell you, hear me. Well, I mean, good grief, be quiet. Just sit there and cry with Job. That's when you're at your best, when you just sat there and cried with him. The other thing is, Eliphaz, he's not just trying to explain his side to Job. He's a jerk. So he says in verse number 30, notice in verse 30, he says, he's talking about what's going to happen to the evil people in the world. So in verse 30, he says, he will not depart from darkness. The flame will dry out his bones. He's talking about being consumed with fire. Well, listen, fire is what killed Job's sheep. So listen, he's not using metaphor here. He's like poking the bear. He's saying that everything he's saying, he's pointing and he's saying, Job, you're wicked. You're wicked. You're wicked. Here's how you know. Because like verse 21, he says, dreadful sounds are in your ears. Well, what happened in Job chapter 1 and 2? Everybody came to Job, and what's the one thing they all said? Everybody died, everything was gone, and I alone have come to tell you. So look, dreadful things were in his ears. Verse 21, it says, in his prosperity, the destroyer comes upon him. Well, in chapter 1, verse 17, all his camels were stolen. Verse number 29 says, he will not be rich, nor will his wealth continue, nor will his possessions be overspread on the earth. Well, literally, he lost it all. In verse 28, it says this. It says, he dwells in desolate cities. Desolate means alone. He dwells in desolate cities, in houses which no one inhabits. Well, Job had a full house, but now nobody lives in his house. Why?
Because they're all dead.
Because they're all dead. This guy has the audacity, not just to say that I'm right. He has the audacity to say, and Job, let me tell you how I know you're wrong. Because you lost everything, fire burned it up, it all got stolen. And by the way, all your kids died. He said, that's all the evidence I need to say. You are wicked. And we look back at this and we go, hold on, brother. This is way overstepping truth. Can I tell you this? We're never better comforters than when we keep opinions, not grounded in truth, keep opinions to ourselves and just rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. And just be there. So this is not a new lesson we learned in this book, but it is a lesson we need to keep reminding ourselves, because in this world we will have trouble. And someday we're going to have to just sit with people and just trust the Lord alongside them. All right? Keep reading. We'll get to chapter 16 tomorrow. Bye.